Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live event where we are going to be creating some Halloween donuts with one of our favorite cake designers, the extraordinary Elisa Strauss. We are so excited to have her in the studio. Of course, that means she could be filming something else as well, so stay tuned for that. But today we are talking all about Halloween donuts, how to decorate some super cute Halloween treats for whatever party you might be attending. So let me get started by just sharing. There's a comment section. We encourage you to ask any questions you might have. Download Elisa's full tutorial on how to create her Frankenstein donuts. And of course, give us some commentary along the way. Let us know what you think about what we are making in the studio today. So with a huge welcome, hi Elisa, how are you today?
Hey, Rachel, thanks for having me here. I don't know about you.
We're so excited.
But in my house, my kids start talking about Halloween in August and all this stuff. So,
I understand. And you've got 3 little ones, so that is an exciting time for all of them, I'm sure.
yes, yeah. And I love decorating things that anyone could just pick up at the store. Obviously, I love to bake, but I thought donuts are so easy. You don't even have to go to a grocery store. You could just get them at, a convenient little store, and you can use all the things that you probably have at home, whether you're using candy or if you have some rolled fondant, then even better, you can make them look real. I brought along some friends from my witch's house, my mummy donut and a regular old jack-o'-lantern. But you can really make anything. You can make little monsters. I mean, super, super simple, easy. So should I get going? Should I show you what I'm going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you are going to be making for us today?
Absolutely. So I thought it would be fun to make Frankenstein because who doesn't love Frankenstein? And I also thought about the contrast, like between all the different colors. And I had some leftover green, and I thought, let's just go for it. It's super easy. I have a donut here, and I'm just going to put some buttercream, just like my cupcake buttercream, because that's what my kids like. And
absolutely. And speaking of cupcakes, you could make these on cupcakes too, right?
Absolutely. And I was even thinking if you didn't want to make buttercream, you could use jam, you could use melted chocolate. And you know what my son would love? I just thought of this. He would love fluff because the boy, of course, because his mom's a cake designer, he's obsessed with marshmallows and anything to do with marshmallows. And this is actually a great activity to do with kids because even though I'm using my cake decorating skills, you can really just have fun. They can add candy, and it's a great activity for a Halloween event.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And I feel like not only is this something fun that we could do at home with the kids, this is something that our teachers could do in the school with our kids too. So if any teachers are out there, I'm sure they're not watching right now, but hopefully they'll tune in and watch us a little later. But they could absolutely bring these into the classroom and have a project. I know there are a handful of teachers, aides, and assistants, and just family, moms and dads that volunteer to do all sorts of activities with the kids in the school. Gosh, it's been a little while since I had a kid in elementary school.
But, I was going to say, honestly, Rachel, unfortunately, like so many schools have a lot of like allergies and so last year anyway, I was forbidden for bringing any baked goods. But you know what? It's fine because we were still able to do some fun, crafty. I'm actually going into my son's classroom for Halloween and we're doing some craft stuff. But absolutely, I have gone into my kids' classrooms and have done stuff with vegetable, you know, with marzipan or fondant, all that stuff.
Sure. Well, I wonder if even if it's not a baked good per se, maybe they could make it out of clay or make it out of something else that's not edible. So you can kind of translate these skills over to something else, which is, you know, lovely.
So fun. Well, and that's what I was going to say. And I'd love to hear from people in the chat if, you know, if they have questions for us. Obviously, we're working on these small donuts, but if, you know, they wanted to make the same design, you know, in a bigger cake, if they have any questions about the supplies we use and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And I'm just rolling out, just so you know, because I'm a little detail oriented, I'm rolling this out in a round just to mimic the shape of the donut. And I actually do that no matter what size cake I'm doing, right? Or what shape. So if I'm doing squares, I start in a square. And if I'm doing round, I start in a round. Right?
Great tip.
Throw it on my little donut. I mean, these you could even make like a little, you know, not a dumpling per se, but you could just wrap it around the bottom if you want, if you were, you know, in a huge rush. And we're going to just push that fondant down into the hole. But you could see here at these other donuts I made, I just covered over the whole hole. So you could use the donut as a simple base and cover it, or you can actually make them all look like donuts, which is so much fun.
They're adorable. They're absolutely adorable.
They are fun, and I just feel like, you know, no matter what happens with the decorating, at the end, you have a donut.
Absolutely. So I do have a question. So when you are covering a donut like this, you used buttercream. You said you could use some other things like chocolate. If you were going to cover this with chocolate, would you put buttercream underneath too, or would you not?
No, I would either make a chocolate ganache, which is just chopped up chocolate and heavy cream, and use that as a frosting, or if I just, and this is again for people who are either vegan or don't want any dairy products, you could just melt chocolate, dark chocolate, and use that. The only thing is that you have to go super fast because, as you all know, chocolate hardens just like a bar. So, you know, you just have to kind of pour it over. In fact, it's best if you have like a cooling rack or something and you could pour the chocolate. That's really for chocoholics. I mean, if you can use something that's more pliable, that's best.
Okay.
So I have my little green guy over here, and then I've already rolled out some chocolate, dark chocolate fondant, which if you haven't tasted it, you should. It's like Tootsie Roll. And we're going to make Frankenstein's hair and eyes and stitches. And of course, you can really make this, you know, bedazzled. You can make his little, what are those, screws, antennae coming out of his neck, and, you know, you can put silver on, you can put, I actually pulled out my stitching tool, which I didn't even think about, but you can make it look like his face is kind of cut up. You know, all those things. The other thing that I just thought of today is that, yes, you can keep the donut round, but you can also use the donut and cut it and make it almost more like a box shape for Frankenstein. I could even try to use my fondant smoothers to smooth it and kind of create more of a box shape if you want that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I feel like both cupcakes and donuts are probably fairly, obviously they're soft enough to be able to maybe squish those even before maybe you put your icing and things on. But I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Perfect. Yes. So I'll go ahead and cut the top, and the top is also flat on Frankenstein. I was just trying to make this easy and go with the round theme, but if you really wanted to, you could cut out the top of his head and make everything really boxy. And they even have boxy donuts now. And then I just like to make it really super jagged. Really, don't overthink it like I usually do, as my husband would say.
I think most cake decorators are overthinking almost everything they do in life.
That's right. That's like what I do.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Why are you surprised?
Oh my goodness, he's so cute already.
So you have just like jagged things. Then I grabbed a number 9 piping tip. Again, you can just roll a little ball and put it right onto the top of, under his hair. And you just put those eyes on. You could make them obviously different shapes like ovals or different colors. But again, this is really meant to be simplistic, and he kind of almost looks like the Hulk, but it's hard to make a green person not look like other green people that so.
That's correct. I would agree with you 100% on that one.
And then I'm just pulling out some, and again, you could use anything that's thin, like licorice sticks and other things, like if you don't have chocolate fondant. It's all very pliable. The important thing, I think, is just to make him look very unhappy. So, which I don't say very often. But.
Well, and you bring up a good point about green people looking like green people and hard to distinguish between the two, right? But I think that's what's so fantastic about this particular project, Elisa, is that you can really, I know we're decorating for Halloween, but you could really adjust this for any occasion.
Absolutely, Rachel. And I think we're both very clear when we teach our classes on Creative Cake or Craftsy that I may be showing you how to make a dog, but that same exact, template and all the ingredients and recipes can be used to make a cat, a cow, really anything.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct on that. We're showing skill sets here, and while it's also a project, I hope and encourage all of you out there to take your own creative liberties and change it up for whatever you need for your occasion.
Absolutely. And even just by changing the color, I've made on Craftsy that handbag that so many people have made, and it's so cute that a lot of people make it in purple because Rachel and I love, love, love purple, if you didn't know that. But you can make it, did I do something? Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. I hope everyone else can. Why don't one of our viewers just make sure that you guys can hear Elisa as well.
No idea what she's saying.
So feel free to go ahead and comment in our comment section. Let us know if you can hear Elisa. It looks like we're having just a small technical difficulty, so bear with us for just a moment. We are excited to have Elisa in the studio. So while we're getting those things taken care of, I just want to share that she is in our studio filming some other things as well, not just this live event. So I'm super excited to be able to share that she'll be doing a few more segments on creative cake design and Craftsy, as well as she's filming an amazing class. I can't wait to share some sneak peeks on that as well. So it looks like we've got Elisa back. Yay. Yeah, give us an update of where you are in your project real quick.
So I went ahead and I cut out some little strips of the chocolate fondant, which tastes just like Tootsie Roll, yum. And I made some stitches. You can make a little nose if you want, or like 2 little dots or holes. I mean, it's really like just to have fun. Maybe that looks silly, so I'll just go back to making, I mean, even without a nose, he's so cute.
Yeah, he's adorable.
If you can say,
and
Frankenstein is
cute. The beautiful thing about this project is you can, because it's just fondant, you can just peel it off and try again. Do something else if it doesn't quite work.
Oh my God, absolutely. And I can't even tell you how many different donuts I've made. I've made candy corn donuts. I've made donuts with spiders on them, which I don't know about you, but right now my house is decked out with fake spiders on our pumpkins. And yes, I use rolled fondant to stick spiders to my pumpkins. I mean, what else do people do? Fondant's just like a part of my life.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I don't like spiders at all. So there are no plastic spiders in my home. I would scream every time I saw one of them. So
okay,
no
but
plastic
again,
spiders for me.
Going back to your idea of a party, you can have, those not even spider rings, but a spider's a great thing, and it's so easy to make it look like a web.
No, thank you.
Okay, fine.
But yes, for everybody else who loves Halloween and loves spiders, by all means, have a blast decorating your cupcakes and cakes and everything with spiders. You can see Elisa's amazing spider cupcake on the screen. It's just fantastic.
That was a real spider. I mean, it was not a real spider.
Okay.
It was a spider made out of rolled fondant, and then I put some sparkles on it. But I'm just saying, if you head over to, the dollar store, you can find so much stuff to decorate, and it would look so cool. And, like the candy corn one is so cute. It's the same idea, using piping tips. It's all about using piping tips and things that you have. Oh yeah, I was going to show you in a little bit just like how you can add stitching. I mean, I would show everyone how to make a spider, Rach, if you would be okay with it.
I'll just look away from the screen a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
But what our viewers are actually seeing is your adorable little candy corn cupcake or donut. Could be done on a cupcake. For those of you just joining us, you can do it either way. But yeah, it's, oh my gosh, so cute, Elisa. Love them, love them.
Oh my God, I also have, this is fun, a scary kind of like eyeball that I've made. And that's kind of fun as a dessert for a Halloween party. And I didn't do this, but you could put, jelly in the middle of the donut, and then you cut it open. And I've done a brain cake, but that was for something totally different. Like, what have I not made
like I said, you are just so creative, and doing extras like that are what really make these showstoppers, right? If everyone's cutting into an eyeball or a brain-shaped cake or cupcake or donut, my goodness, you will really get some wows at your party.
And another thing that I've done in the past, actually, again, you don't like donuts, you don't like cake, My kids love marshmallow treats. So I'll just make a batch of marshmallow treats, cut them in squares, super easy. And then again, you can put ghosts on them. Obviously, you can make the Rice Krispie treats into Frankenstein. Yeah, you can really just do anything. I mean, I want to say Halloween's the easiest holiday to do it because it's just so many colors, so many candies. You know, it's that one holiday that you could just go crazy and no one really looks at you crazy. Maybe.
Well, there's no wrong answer when it comes to Halloween, that's for sure. Anything and everything goes. So you have the ability to truly make whatever you would like, and it will be perfect.
And in my upcoming class that I'm making a really cute shape, which I can't tell anyone, I'm just thinking it has nothing to do with Halloween, but it would be so easy to customize it into a ghost or, you know, I don't want to say too much.
Well, I will share just a little bit. She is actually creating a very popular toy. I'll say that in quotations.
Okay.
A popular toy that comes in many, many shapes and sizes now, and all sorts of different animals, all sorts of things. So if anybody has any guesses as to what she might be making, feel free to pop those in the comments. We'll see if anybody is picking up on our clues here.
But we're not allowed to
Sandra,
tell them, right?
well, we could absolutely tell them, but let's make it a little game first, and then we'll tell them by the end. By the end, you'll know what she's doing for her class. We have a comment from Sandra. She says, I love this. Do you have any ideas for turning donut holes into holiday themed treats or Halloween? I'm looking for small treats for my party, and this has really inspired me.
Oh my God, I love that idea. I've never thought of this, but you know, if you get the lollipop sticks, so they're white and soft, and you just have to keep them really nice and clean. Although you could take washi tape and wrap them in orange and black, which would be fun. You could also use straws, like a beautiful paper straw. Stick the donut hole on. You could stick it on again. Anything gooey, sticky, fluff, buttercream, jam. And then you can decorate the donut holes however you want. You can, you know, dip them in white chocolate and make them look like mummies with two little eyes, or ghosts, or, I mean, you could definitely, of course, put a little spider on it. I might be obsessed with the spiders right now, but.
Oh, you're talking too many spiders in my opinion.
Okay, fine.
Spiders, you could make eyeballs. I feel like you could do just about any of the ideas that Elisa has already shown us and mentioned to us as well. You just do them in a smaller version.
Right.
So,
absolutely. Yeah. And if you don't like fondant, which is totally fine, we can still be friends. Totally fine. You just won't get the same look, but you can, you know, just use buttercream to decorate the donuts, and then I can show you how to make some other stuff. And that eye, going back to that eye, that was fun because I just marbleized some fondant. So I mixed some white and red, which of course could be good for Christmas, right? Like going the candy cane route. But this was like the bloodshot eye. You could also use piping gel over the donuts to make them look shiny, like a shiny eyeball, which is totally grotesque. I once made a cake for, oh my God, what is that crazy show with all the gross stuff that people had to do? Not Survivor. What is that? What? Oh my God, yes, Fear Factor.
Good one.
My little witchy elves here are helping me. fear factor. I did this huge cake in the middle of Times Square, but it reminds me because I had to print out photos of sheep eyeballs, and I made a rat out of red velvet cake. And am I allowed to talk about rats, Rach, or no?
Sure, go for it. I don't mind like those types of things at all.
Oh my God, you
Go
can
for it.
make you can make like a little mouse on top, like rodent. I mean, that's more creepy to me than spiders, but okay, to each his own. But yeah,
Comes
I
back
mean,
to being a young child watching Arachnophobia, which was like the worst
well,
movie
that
in
was
the world.
silly.
Well, it wasn't by choice. I'll just say that. I had a bit of a childhood that was not so kind.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
It's
Well,
okay. That's why I don't like spiders. But anyway, moving on.
of course, of course. Well, you know, I always said that it's the Black Stallion's fault that I don't like boats and fire and all that stuff. So,
See, we
you
all
know.
have our own little stories about what traumatized us as
Yeah.
kids. So,
Exactly.
absolutely.
And then in case my mom's watching, we all blame our moms.
Of course, of course. And tell me a little bit about what you are working on right now.
So I was just thinking, because I had an extra donut, and I was thinking of all my friends who don't like rolled fondant but love a fun cupcake. So I thought I would just cover it with, you know, just the white buttercream, super simple. And obviously, you can dye buttercream any color. So this is just really, you know, to make it easy. You could also have, I've never really, I mean, I did this in, trying to think, in pastry school a billion witchy years ago. But we made pedophores. I don't know if people even know what those are, but with poured fondant, which is a liquid. It's basically a liquid fondant. And you could do that and dip your donuts in, you know?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love using poured fondant or, like you were saying, a chocolate ganache, whether that chocolate ganache is in white so that you can color it or in just a chocolate flavor as well. Speaking of flavors, we have a question. What are some unique flavor combinations for Halloween donuts?
Ooh. Okay. Well, I mean, I love pumpkin, of course, or apple cinnamon. Trying to think what else. I mean, chocolate is for every holiday ever in the world.
Of course.
I don't know. Is that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things you were just mentioning is that the buttercream could be colored in any flavor, and I think the caveat to that too is you could flavor it any flavor that you want to. So, Lisa, great question in regards to flavors. You know, you can add essence and extracts to not only your buttercream, but you can also do it for chocolate these days too. So, if you're really looking for a way to change up the flavor of whatever donut you have or whatever cupcake you have. But as Elisa was saying, I think some of your very traditional fall flavors like a pumpkin spice or an apple spice, those are certainly great combinations with like a caramel buttercream, for instance. So depending upon the flavor of donut that you have, you can obviously change up your flavor profile to match with that as well.
You know what I was also thinking, you know, this time of year, candied apples are such a fun thing. And, you know, we're all trying to be healthier sometimes. But you can, you know, you could use these same decorations and just apply it to candy apples. The other thing that I love about using just the buttercream is that, like, my household is a split household. I'm not talking politics. We're not a split house. But anyway, but we are a split household in terms of vanilla and chocolate. And so, you know, every time I make any kind of dessert, I always have to think about how am I going to please my middle child who is a chocoholic. So the rest of us like vanilla, but she is, you know, the richer, deeper, darker. I mean, she likes a flourless chocolate cake. She doesn't even want flour getting in her way. So,
Oh my goodness.
you know, I think that's a great way to, if you're having a party or you are working with kids, you just have to be careful to have enough of everything, because you know you don't want to be in the one classroom where everyone wants vanilla and you have half and half. It usually works out, but
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. So first of all, tell me what you're doing. You're
okay.
rolling out some fondant, I see.
Yes, well, I'm just making some long kind of ropes. I was thinking I would try to make a spider web. I will say I normally, when I make my cakes, you know, realism is a big part of it. So I would normally have a picture of something up. So this is all from memory, but you know.
I think you can handle this one.
I don't know.
You got this.
So I have this rope and I'm, you know, gonna put it out. Let's see. Here, maybe I could cut some strips. Maybe I'll just do one to see if it's working, you know.
Or even just one big spider on that donut.
Yes.
As much as
Well,
I hate
I
to
was
say
thinking,
that.
yes, of course. I'm getting to the spider.
Oh,
it's
no.
suspense. Sorry.
You're
But
good.
I was trying to also make a web. You know what I'm
course.
saying?
Oh no, I'm picking it up.
Okay. So, and you could do this, you know, obviously all around the cupcake, or you could just make one big web. Yippee. One thing I want to say, going back to Frankenstein and green people, because I brought it up, you know, as a cake designer, I always say the hardest cakes to make are those toys that kids love, because if you get them wrong, let me tell you, the kid's gonna tell you.
Yeah, they definitely point out all of the mistakes.
All
don't they?
flaws. all, and more, all. Especially my children.
And speaking of those toys, we have a couple of guesses, Elisa. So,
Really?
If you're just joining us, Elisa is going to be filming a class tomorrow. It will be a couple of months before it comes out, so we don't want to give out too much information, get everybody all excited, and then you have to sit around and wait. But we are excited that she's filming another class. It is a toy. I'm putting that in quotations because I think a lot of people reference it as a toy, but I personally don't view it as a toy. But we have some guesses.
Well, right.
Patricia
If a toy
asking-
is to play with,
right.
or okay, go ahead. What are the guesses?
I don't know. Yeah, I have a slightly different viewpoint on this particular toy. But we have some guesses. So Patricia is guessing that maybe it's a Lego set, which is that's actually a really fun theme for parties and for cakes. Sandra is guessing maybe a Barbie doll. And Jennifer is guessing Funko Pop. Now, I don't have any young kids around anymore. Do you know what Funko Pop is, Elisa?
I have no idea.
Okay, I might have to do a quick search. Maybe it sounds like one of the smaller figurines or something that like they come in different containers. Again, I have a younger niece, so I know she has definitely requested some of those type things, but I'm going to look it up real quick because I don't know what a Funko Pop is. Oh, it's like pop culture pieces, and all right. That's exactly what it is. So it's actually a little figurine with a big head.
Oh, I love those. And actually, I made for my daughter's second, was it her? Yes, it was her second birthday. I made one after like a children's book character. It was almost like a Frida Kahlo, but not exactly. I forgot the name of the author. I could picture the cake, of course, but my daughter's
Yes.
also now almost 15, so it was a while ago. We don't read that book anymore, the board books, but I do love those, and
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, and they're super fun to create as well, out of other items like cake.
yes. And I was going to say, just make sure none of my neighbors call in, because
Oh.
I went around, and I hope this isn't giving out too much.
You're okay.
But the toy that I'm making is something that people tend to collect or have maybe more than one. Like, I remember when I was growing up, and remember, I'm not so young, when there were Cabbage Patch Kids, and like the kids that had like more than one Cabbage Patch Kid, like that was like huge, right? Because that was, I don't know. Rachel, did you have Cabbage Patch Kids?
Yes, I had many of them.
Yes.
Yes,
You
many
did?
Cabbage
Oh my
Patch Kids.
goodness. That's amazing. I had like a preemie and Peppy Peppermint Strauss. And yes, that was her name. And she was a redhead because, as I always say to my ginger husband, I was always partial to redheads.
I love that. That's absolutely fantastic.
Okay, I'm going back to my spider. Are there any other, do we see the web forming? This is when you say yes, Rachel.
Sorry. Yes, I have my pupper is here and he is not happy. So I was muting myself so nobody could hear him.
Oh.
But yes, your spider web is looking amazing. I love the texture that you have to it as well, because I know oftentimes we make spider webs and some of those background details would be done in like chocolate, and you just sort of run it through your icing, or maybe like you were saying, the gel, like a sparkly gel here would be really cute on top of the buttercream.
I mean, I only have chocolate and green here because I was making Franken, but maybe I should make the spider out of green, although that would really freak you.
Actually, I feel like the more playful spiders are a little easier for me to handle. So I
Okay,
have
well,
had
these
to
are,
make some,
this is very doughy.
yeah,
you
I
know.
had to make some spiders in my day out of modeling chocolate and such. But yeah, the less realistic they looked, the easier it was for me. But Jennifer's saying she collected Beanie Babies. I would put this class theme closer to the Beanie Babies than I would a toy. Like, do we consider Beanie Babies a toy? I mean, I think technically we do. It falls in that category, but I don't know. Let us know what you think. Is Beanie Babies a toy? Because I think if you call Beanie Babies a toy, then I think this, I mean, I definitely think what she's making is considered a toy, but it's,
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
it's maybe a similar texture
Yes.
of a Beanie Baby, but
Yes.
not a Beanie Baby. Also, because Beanie Babies wouldn't feed very much.
No, they're usually very small, but I'm sure we could make larger versions of a Beanie Baby to make it work.
You know what I totally forgot? I forgot to put, I'm having so much fun. I forgot to put Frankenstein's little neck pins.
Oh, his neck pieces.
So let me show you that. So I just took, again, I don't want people to have to go out and buy like 5,000 colors, right? So first of all, the chocolate fondant, I mean, I love the Satin Ice brand. It tastes so good and it rolls out beautifully. So you should just always have that on hand, because I mean, even if you're making sugar cookies and you want to make a little chocolate heart, that stuff is like amazing for that, right?
I couldn't agree more.
And then, so if you have the green and the brown, and so you just mix them together, just like a little bit, more green than brown, and you make a log. And this is one of my favorite tricks. I mean, anyone who's seen some of my classes probably already knows this, but I love using the flat surface of a fondant smoother to make it like a log. So it's super straight. And then we'll just make, I mean, we don't even need this much because it's a little donut, but I just cut them into little, what are these? I don't know, smaller logs?
It's yeah, like the little bolts, right? That's what we're going
I'm just
for.
gonna move that for a second so you could see it out of the shadows. And then one thing I thought would be fun is, again, one of my favorite things in the world is my stitching tool. So if I go back over his little head thing, again, it's, you know, my friend Jerry, who I started out, she had a cake company, I had a cake company. We both were working in the basement of a New York City bakery that we created. But she would often say that she'd look over, she'd think I'd be done with a cake, and then another 2 hours would go by and I'd still be working on the cake. So, you know, it's like Frankenstein was fine, just green and brown. But you can, you know, as Emerald would say, kick it up a notch, and you can just keep, you know, adding details, adding different colors, adding stitching details. I mean, no one would fault you, because really, doesn't Frankenstein have like a lot of like,
Yeah, I feel like you could beat up that donut as much as you wanted, and it would still be a perfect Frankenstein.
yeah. And like I did mention this earlier, you could use some water gum glue to stick them on. I have some gum glue. I actually think it's your recipe, Rach, that I used from another class that you taught. And then once that's sitting and drying, you could even paint it with a metallic, and that would be so much fun.
Absolutely. I love being able to add those extra little details. That's what makes our cakes and cupcakes and cookies and donuts, it makes all of those things really stand out and be a bit more special, is when you add those extra details.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm going back. Now that I remember I have that color, I'm going to make my spider a different color than my web.
That sounds like a great idea. Little contrast.
Yes,
I love it.
you gotta have contrast.
Yeah. And did you say you had some sparkle on your set today?
I do, which
Okay.
is, I'm also teaching some mini classes, which are just going to be about 20 minutes, but you know, I have everything ready. I have swap outs. I flew here from New York with lots of boxes and bags. And
Yes, we tend to bring our whole kitchens with us when we teach.
That's right. So I didn't even get into a fight with anyone for taking my
no
cakes.
TSA
No
agents went
TSA
down.
issues. But anyway, so yes, there was sparkle, and I mean, I'm actually so excited for my class. I just think it's a cake that anyone could make for any holiday, any birthday, any event. You could make it big or small. You can make it fat or thin. You could make it furry or not. Like you can you can customize it in so many. I'm just warming up for my class, but I'm gonna keep all these ideas so that I can say it in my class.
I love it. There are lots and lots and lots and lots of these toys out there in every possible theme you could imagine, and they are super popular. So I'm excited for the class as well. I think it's going to be a hit. I think everybody's going to love it, and we're going to see all sorts of these toys coming out in cakes very, very soon.
Yay. Okay, I'm not sure about this color, but you know, this is a live show.
I think it's fantastic. I love it.
You have to forgive me. And oh my God, what's better than a furry spider?
Oh,
My
excellent.
goodness. And you
So,
know, I love
tell
my
me
scalpel.
what you're doing right now, Elisa.
So I'm just using, anyone who knows me knows that I love my scalpels that, you know, my dad, who was a surgeon, introduced me to. So I'm just making some quick cut. And so if you want them really thin, you can just use the blade and make lots of little fun, kind of like little furry things. And then if you want them a little thicker and deeper, then I like to use the back of the scalpel. And that's how we make all of our furry friends. But obviously, if you're making a big cake like the dog cake I made on Craftsy, then I have a hair mat that actually is sold by Marvelous Molds, because you could imagine the first time I made the dog cake, I did this all by hand. And now you know why my friend Jerry was like, oh my God, she's still working on that cake over there.
Yeah, I can imagine how many hours you spent just putting in all of those tufts of fur on your dog the first time around.
Yeah,
I'm so glad
why not?
you could do a mold for that eventually, because that's definitely a helpful mold to have in your supply closet.
Right. And also, I mean, there are so many amazing molds have really revolutionized the entire industry. So, you know, you could go into any kind of craft store and find any kind of molds, to even to the point where, I mean, if I was making 50 donuts for a party, I would not hand make each spider web and spider.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be a lot of work. So trying to find some shortcuts along the way is definitely a helpful tool to have in your back pocket.
So, I mean, I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy. Depending on depending on who you ask.
We love you, Elisa, and we love how detailed you are. That's what makes you so amazing at what you do. And so I think we can all appreciate how detail oriented you are. That's fantastic.
For sure.
All right.
Yes.
So spider's coming together. We've got some texture on him. What's next?
I don't know, since we're on, I mean, if I had some white, I'd make some eyes, although I have to confess, for the mummy cake that I made, I just used pre-made eyes that are sold at, you know, Wilton has them, Michaels has them, and so the mummy, the thing I did with the buttercream is I actually dyed it green, because I thought it's kind of fun, you know, to have this like green buttercream underneath all the little strips of, you know, here I used rolled fondant, but you can use, you know, chocolate, modeling chocolate, which is delicious. And, you know, mummies are not usually so pristine and clean. So modeling chocolate, it usually has a more ivory look to it because of the chocolate. So that's fine. And then I just put down a little black behind the eyes before I put on all the little, I guess, what is that, gauze? And then the pumpkin, again, I mean, you could go ahead and cover a whole bunch of orange donuts, and that could be a way to have the kids do their own stem, because as you know, there are all sorts of stems with pumpkins, and the jack-o'-lantern face, they could customize it. I know my kids, we just went apple picking and picked up some pumpkins, and you know, they're excited about carving them. And then roasting the pumpkin seeds too.
Of course,
which is
of course.
delicious.
I have not picked up my pumpkins yet, but I plan to do that this
Oh,
weekend. I'm super excited about it. The 17-year-old is still wanting to carve pumpkins, so I'm gonna
that's
hang on to that as long as I
awesome.
can.
That is
Um,
amazing. I know. Well, you've been really busy with lots of cakes. This is a busy
yes, it's
time for
been one
you.
of those wedding seasons, but wedding season has officially ended for myself. I'm
Oh,
sure there are many more weddings to come for other bakers out there. So if you're working on a fun project, feel free to let us know in the comment section. What are you working on? Do you have something special going on this weekend that you're working on? And will you be making these adorable donuts? I know that oftentimes we are tight on time as the holiday seasons are starting to roll around. It will be, gosh, do I dare say winter? It will be winter before we know it. I'm still trying to get the most out of fall. We had our first snow here in
oh my
Colorado, though.
God.
So winter is on its way for us, but yeah, I am excited to kind of tackle a few of those holiday projects that have been on my list for a little while that I
Well,
just haven't gotten
that's
to.
fun.
So
This
yeah.
also reminds me, one of my favorite Halloween cakes was actually for a client. It was her 40th birthday, and I think her name was Veronica. And we did a bat cake, and it was really
Ooh.
cool. It was on a long rectangular board, but I'm thinking of it because it's the same thing, if you're making like the furry bat and you're, versus all the little legs of the spider, you're making the little wings. So that's another little, guy that you can make little, a bat, or you can make it like to feed 50 people.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea of making even a bunch of apples as well. That was something else that came to mind when we were talking about some
Yeah.
flavor combinations. You could turn these donuts very easily into, a bushel or a barrel of apples. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
absolutely.
Uh,
Actually
yeah,
did,
so
yeah,
that
I
would be
did a
really cute.
cake of barrel of apples, and just like so many of the other classes where we teach how to make wood, right? Like I think,
Hmm.
I'm trying to think, was it my handbag class? I don't know. One of them I showed how I make the base look like wood. Well, I use all those same techniques on a round cake, and I just put the fondant like slabs, and then you throw apples in, and you can make the apples out of marzipan or roll fondant or modeling chocolate, which is delicious, or you could just
Hmm.
buy baby apples and put them in.
That's true too. That's fantastic. Well, let's take a peek at your spider.
Okay, no
See what this
judgments.
are you still making some legs? Is that what
I'm
we're
still, yeah, well,
okay.
I don't know. Spiders have 6 legs. Is that
I
right?
think there are arachnids. I think there are eight.
8. See? So I have 2 more to go.
Okay. All right. Two more legs. I mean, you could leave off a couple and I wouldn't mind, but if we're going to be technical about it.
Yes, yes. Well, I made the eyes out of the only other color I have here right now, which is
Okay,
green.
that is okay. I think that's the fun part, right? Like it's Halloween, anything goes. You make those eyes whatever color you want to make
That's
them.
right. Yeah, and if I want any part of it to be shiny, I can just brush it with water, or if I really want it to stay, I can have the glaze that I know you gave me the recipe for.
Yeah, we have an edible glaze recipe
Yeah,
on Creative Cake Design. Just put that into the search and it will pop right up for you. It's really easy to make and it literally you spray it right on to or paint it on either way and it stays shiny, which is wonderful. And you don't have to buy a special product for that.
right. Yeah,
Um, yeah, and
so fun.
speaking of Creative Cake Design, you can find Elisa's classes both on Creative Cake Design as well as the Craftsy platform. We would encourage you to go check out some of those classes. Again, we'll have a new class coming very soon for her.
Yay.
We may be able to just give a little more information. These items are very puffy. Maybe that'll give people another clue to work off of to see if we can get this theme out there before the end of the tutorial. I know
They're
we're
like
winding down. We just have a
clouds.
couple more minutes. Any other guesses on what she might be making? Yes, very fluffy and hmm. Do you have any subtle clues you can give, Elisa?
Oh my goodness.
I know.
But no one's used subtle to ever describe me. Let's see.
Well, it's
Well,
okay.
they could be kept on a shelf, or they could be on your bed. That's where my kids keep them.
Yep, I think that's the perfect clue. So we need a couple more guesses now because I think if you know they're fluffy and they're maybe kept on a bed, you can probably come up with it.
And it's not a pillow, but it could be a pillow. I mean, you could
It could
make
be
a
a pillow.
I've made pillow cakes, which is also a great generic cake because then you can put your toys on top of a pillow. You could put ballet slippers. I mean, I've put so many things on top of a pillow. So that's what, in case anyone's coming in late and they don't know what I'm talking about, we love at Creative Cake and Craftsy to teach classes that then you can use for anyone in your life.
That's
Right?
correct.
Any
That's
occasion.
absolutely. Yeah. And you talked a lot. Okay, Nikki's guessing teddy bear. You're getting really close,
Oh,
Nikki.
so close, but
You're
no.
You're getting very, very close. You talked about using some other types of materials when you are baking and decorating, and that your son really loves marshmallows.
Oh my
And
goodness. Did I say loves? I meant obsessed with.
obsessed with marshmallows. That is absolutely correct. So that might give you another clue of what she's making in her class. Trying to come up with some subtle hints for you. You guys are going to get there. I promise you. You've got 4 minutes. That's the time frame we're looking at here. Oh, Linda got it. Linda said,
I was going to say, that's not such a subtle hint, Rachel.
well, I wanted to make sure we got there, you guys.
Okay.
Elisa's new class is how to create a squishmallow cake. She's actually going to be teaching it in she's got 2 different sizes for you. She's got 2 different design ideas, and she's got all sorts of little extras for you to embellish your squishmallow cake. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see this class come together. Yeah, hopefully you guys will be excited too. And again, it's one of those things that you can customize to meet any theme, any style that you can possibly imagine. And I can see, I know my kiddo would absolutely have created his own squishmallow for me to create. He's sketched many a cake designs for me through his
Aww.
short life on this planet. But yeah, I could see all of our kids just designing a squishmallow. That would be a fun project too. Just have people design their own squishmallow.
You know, it's funny, Rachel, because you keep saying kids, but I don't know about you, but some of my clients, it's like celebrating their 30th birthday, and I made, a glowworm cake, or, I've made Batman and other kind of icons for adults. So I'm just saying.
You're right. You're right. It's not just the kids anymore. And I think especially with our generation, Elisa, we're getting a little bit more nostalgic as we get older. And so talking about things like Cabbage Patch Kids and Beanie Babies, like those bring back some serious memories for us.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
I mean, they're not retro yet, but
they're getting there.
I was going to put all of our.
Well, let's take a peek at all of those adorable donuts that you have for us. Make sure you have downloaded her tutorial for the Frankenstein donuts specifically. Obviously, you can adjust those to be whatever style you would like. So download the tutorial. And feel free to let us know what you've made. Let's see him, Elisa. Let's
I
see
mean,
all of
I'm
that.
like, not so excited about him, but I mean, I would be pinching all of the webs together. I mean, this is like not,
Oh,
but
it's
you get the
beautiful. And
point. You get the
I
point.
I think everybody understands. These live events are quick, so no stress over perfection. That's not what this is about.
Okay. If you if you say so. I guess I didn't need like years of therapy. I just needed to come here and just don't stress over the details, Elisa. Come on.
Oh, well, I think we all just adore you, and your attention to detail is always so fantastic. This is a project where if you wanted to spend hours on one donut, you absolutely could, but there's no need. You can see how cute they are just in their basic form as well. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And the last thing I'll leave you with, just it with powdered donuts. You don't even have to use buttercream or anything. I just remembered. You're welcome, Mark.
Yes.
My husband loves powdered donuts. And then, oh my God, you just put eyes and it's done. That's a
I
ghost.
love
That's a
it.
mummy.
Super quick and easy for the busy person out there. So yes, Elisa, thank you so much for sharing your Frankenstein donuts and all of your amazing donuts that you have in front of you there. I loved chatting with you about all of your different ideas and how to create these. This is just fantastic. We appreciate you being in the studio. We can't wait for your classes. And of course, happy Halloween to everyone.
Yes, happy Halloween. And people should say what they make. Whatever.